Today I thought I would do something a little bit different today. So I thought I would do an honest review of easfc 25. So easfc 25 fully launched on Friday. I've been playing it over the weekend. And to be honest with you, I can't lie. I actually think that it's not a bad game. I don't think it's a terrible game. I've seen some people saying that it's absolutely awful, and not worth buying. I mean, I wouldn't say it's probably worth it at full price. I would definitely say, maybe wait for it to go on sale. Um, you know, if I had to rate the game only, normally I'd rate the games quite high, but I feel like I can only rate EAFC 25 around about a 6.5 out of 10. For me, that's just my rating. For me, I feel like there's a few little niggly things that either mark the day down a few points for me. Like, one of the things that really pisses me off, and this is really pisses me off, is how every time the game launches, there's always teams with missing third hits in the game. Now, I don't understand why certain teams don't have their third hits at launch. I remember going back to FIFA 22, Brentford had a white third hit, but that for some reason that was never added into EAFC 25. They only ever had the home and away hits in that game. They never actually had the third hit. But they introduced Villa's third hit in the game, but they never introduced the Brentford third hit, and no one really knows why. EA never did that. It's just crazy, really. I mean, obviously this has been a problem, since FIFA 21. And it shouldn't still be a problem, Why is that? Why is this something that is still an issue, in the latest games? That's not something that should let me start that then. That's not something that should legit still be a problem, still be an issue 4 years down the line. Every time a new iteration of EAFC releases every year, there's teams with missing third hits. And I don't see that as something that will be changed, by EA Sports in coming years. I think that will continue to be a problem with, future EAFC games. There will be teams that have missing third hits at launch. The other reason I've marked them down a little bit is because, again, I'm disappointed at the fact that we've got to wait for the Ipswich Town Stadium to be added into the game. And again, this has been something that has been under problem since the AFC, since FIFA 21. Whenever a new team gets promoted to the Premier League, their stadium isn't available at launch. You have to wait they don't, and normally, and the problem is they don't add the new stadium into the game until the new year. So you're waiting until the springtime before you actually get the stadium in the game, and it's why? I've never understood why EA make players wait that long for the stadium to be added into the game. What is the reason for EA making players wait that long for the new stadium to be available in the game? Why do they never add it in until around the springtime? It doesn't really, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, obviously it's not something that ruins the gameplay massively. I mean, yeah, it's a bit it's a bit frustrating for those that, want to do an Ipswich Town career mode. They're having to do career mode in a generic stadium, which is a major problem, and it's a bit of a disappointing thing for them. I mean, it's not really an issue for me because I don't really play with Ipswich Town that much in the game anyway, so it's not something that is really ruining the gameplay for me overall, but I think it's something that needs to be improved on for future games. It shouldn't be a problem. Like the fact that this has been a problem in the game since FIFA 21, it's a bit it's a bit of a disappointment, really, for me personally. But I know there will be some people that won't be too genuinely disappointed by this. But I think there are some people that are just questioning why this is still a problem, because it's been, it's something that has ultimately been a problem since FIFA 21. So it shouldn't still be a problem now, 4 years down the line. When FIFA 21 came out, so we're talking, 3 years down the line, actually. It's FIFA 21, no, 4 years, it's FIFA 21 came out in, obviously, 2020, so yeah, 4 years down the line. It's just a really kind of frustrating thing, because you want to be able to play with all of the third hits at launch. You don't want to have to keep waiting for the third hits to be added into the game. It just feels like every team should have their third hit, available at launch. It feels like there shouldn't be a reason for them not having their third hits in their third. There shouldn't be a reason for for certain teams not having their third hits in the game at launch. Like it's something that doesn't make sense to me, and I think it's something that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, in general. I mean, obviously the game, as I said, the game is not terribly bad. I'm not going to sit here and slap the game off saying it's absolutely awful, and it's absolutely horrendous, because I don't think it's as horrendous, it's that bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad, but it's also not great. It's kind of, for me, I would say it's pretty average. It's a pretty decent game for the most part. I understand why why some people think it's not worth it at full price, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? I mean, I was playing eFootball the other day, Hanani's game eFootball. Now, last few years, eFootball hasn't really been that good, but when I went back to play that this year, recently I've been playing that, and I will say that EA have really improved on this. Like, they've really done a good job at the game this year. Like, Hanani have really, put a lot of effort into eFootball this year, and actually made it a decent game for the most part. It's a solid game. It's worth playing. It's worth, it's a game that I actually enjoy playing now, but, which wasn't a thing, a few years ago. Ruby! Sorry, I just can't stand the dog's barking for no reason. Stop! I mean, it's just a mad thing, really. Seeing how good, eFootball is this year. But compare that to EA Sports FC 25. Do I think that's good as eFootball this year? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that, to be honest. I won't say that Hanami, the eFootball's better than the AFC, but I think there are some people that probably do have that opinion. It's not a bad thing to have that opinion. I'm not saying that people are wrong to have that opinion, but I certainly wouldn't say it's a game that. I mean, maybe it is better than the AFC 25. I mean, some of you guys might think it's a bit, unfair, me basically scoring the AFC, a 6.5 out of 10 for, just for missing third hits. But the reason I've marked them down for that is because this is something that, as I said, has been a problem, since FIFA 21, and it's something that shouldn't still be a thing for, 4 years down the line, and they're bringing out a new game, teams are still, there are still teams that have missing third hits in the game. I don't get that. I don't get why that's a problem, or why that's still a thing in this game. It just doesn't make sense to me in the long run. I mean, obviously, I don't think it'll be too long before we get the missing third hits. I'm presuming they will be added in within the next squad update. I don't think it'll be too long. If I remember correctly, like last year, the missing third hits were added in around mid-October. So maybe we, I'll take a guess and say it'll be around mid-October time if we get them again this year. I can't see them waiting, making players wait for too long, for the missing third hits. I'm sure they'll add them in, as soon as possible, as they'll want to do. I think that's what I think that's what EA will want to do. They will want to add those third hits into the game as soon as possible. Which is why I don't think it'll be too long before we get them. I think it'll probably be in the next squad update, in the next title update that probably is due to come out in the next few weeks, probably around mid-October. As we've had one already, we've had like title patch number 1. So we've had that, and then obviously there'll probably be another one coming out around about mid-October time, and that is the one where maybe we'll get the missing third hits that we're waiting on. So I think if I remember correctly, it's Aston Villa that don't have their third hit in the game. Crystal Palace don't have their third hit in the game yet. Chelsea don't have their third hit in the game yet. And Manchester United, I think those are the 4 Premier League teams that don't have third hits in the game yet. And I feel sorry for Chelsea because they actually fell victim to this last year as well with the AFC 24. They didn't have their third hit in the game at launch. And it's the same thing again this year. They don't have their third hit in the game at launch. So the 2 teams that fell victim to it last year were Chelsea and Tottenham. This year it's 4 teams that have fallen victim to it. Chelsea, Villa, Palace, United. I don't think there's any other teams either. I know that, obviously, Serie A teams, maybe there's a couple of teams in other leagues that don't have third hits. I shouldn't see a reason why why the Premier League teams won't get their third hit, the missing third hits won't be added in. I think they will be, and I think they'll be added in fairly soon. But as I said, it's something that shouldn't still be a thing, because it's something that's been a thing in the AFC and whatnot since FIFA 21, and it's still a problem now. It's still something that you're seeing obviously every time a new game comes out, and as I said, I don't see it being something that changes out in the next couple of years. I see that being something that is still an issue in the in future games. I see it being something that is still going to be a problem. I'm sure I don't remember there being any teams in FIFA 23 that were missing third hits from the Premier League. I can't remember if there were any teams in that game that were missing third hits at launch. And maybe there was 1 or 2 of them that were missing third hits. I can't remember. But yeah, it's something that shouldn't be a thing, really. Teams missing third hits. It's like, what is the reason for that? It just doesn't make sense to me. This is something I'd love to see EA explain. It's why these third hits are always missing. But as I said, hopefully we'll get the missing third hits soon. And I think it will be soon. As I said, I don't see EA making players wait too long for that. I'm sure they'll add them in as soon as possible. Probably within the next sort of update. But yeah, I think, EA, I like some of the little changes that have been made, like, the POV, the player POV and the substitute, when a player's being substituted. They've made a little few, they've added a few, a few decent, little things in the game this year, and they've made a few decent, little changes. I've made some changes here and there that are actually really good. I like the whole kind of newswire element in career mode, where you get the social media thing in career mode now. That kind of makes career mode more interesting. And I think that's pretty good. I think there are certain things that EA are improving on every year, which is good. It's not. I don't feel like it's exactly the same as the AFC 24. I feel like there are some things that have been improved on, and have been fixed, or have been changed, or have been, updated. And I think it's a good thing to see. At least it's not just a complete rehash of FC24 with updated hits and stadiums and lots of things like that. At least they are actually making decent changes. I mean, yeah, maybe they're not making the changes that people have actually asked for, but they're still adding things in that make the game better, that make that make the experience that bit better than previous game. There are things in this game that make that already make the AFC 25 slightly better than the AFC 24 was. And next year there'll probably be a lot of things in the AFC 26 that make it slightly better than the AFC 25. And this is what it's going to be like every year. I don't know how many more years we're going to be getting the AFC games, probably for a little while yet. But there's going to be there's going to be, I think, there's got to be a thing every year where, the new game has certain things that make it better than the previous game, and, I like some of the changes they've made. I would have liked to have seen a few new leagues added, like the Panorama National League. I mean, people have been asking for a few years now. But, and obviously it's a licensing thing, and obviously you have to have the licensing for that. But surely that would be easy enough for them to do. Surely it would be easy enough for them to get that license for the Panorama National League. And I just think that having the Panorama National League in the AFC would be, it would be good for those players that want to do a Road to Glory career mode. Like, to be able to start with the Panorama National League and make their way up to the Premier League. It would be a very interesting thing. And I think that that's something that should be, it's a league that should be added in the next game. I am disappointed it wasn't added in this game. And I'm sure that, I don't think EA are completely unaware of the fact that people want that league in the game. I think they do know that people want that league in the game. But it's just about them getting the licensing for that league in the game, and I think they can do it. It's achievable. And I'm sure that some players would, love to have that league in the game from, a Road to Glory perspective. But yeah, it's one of those things. Just make those improvements. But yeah, I give EAFC 25 a solid 6.5 out of 10. Maybe some of you guys would score it less than that. Maybe some of you guys would say a 4. Maybe some of you guys would think it's a 5 out of 10. Maybe some of you guys would think it's higher than that. Maybe some of you guys would think I'm being a bit unfair with my scoring of a 6.5 out of 10. Maybe I should go higher than that. But I think, as time goes on, maybe I will start to appreciate it a little bit more, and I might score it a bit higher than... So this is just my rating for now. I'm not saying that this will be my rating completely for the game. I'm not saying that my rating for the game, won't improve. I mean, I'll probably do a review of the game, every few months, and see where it's at, and see what my review is, see what my scoring was, so just kind of, keep a thing going there. Like, I want to do, this is something I've been thinking about doing for a while, is like doing regular reviews of the AFC 25, seeing if, how much things have improved, seeing how much better the game feels after a few months of playing it, Yeah, it's a game that I've got a bit shaky and a bit thinny now, but, a couple of months time, or, a few months down the line, it might not be too bad. It might not be as shaky as it seems to be now. It might be a little bit more enjoyable for players, a couple of months down the line or a few months down the line. You just have to wait and see, But yeah, I don't think players need to be too patient for the third hits. I don't think it'll be too long now before they're added into the game. It'll probably be only be another couple of weeks or so before they're added into the game. I don't see it being any longer than, a few weeks at most. But we'll see. I mean, I could be totally wrong on that. They could make us wait for at least a couple of months before they add the third hits in, but I don't see them doing that. But they'll add them in as soon as possible. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this review of EAFC 25. Wanted to give it a review as it is now. Obviously it has only just come out, So we need to give it time. We need to give EA time to make the game better, you know? So, yeah, hopefully it all goes to plan. I'll see you for another video soon. Bye bye.